Who has hit the most home runs as a full-time pitcher in baseball history? No, it's not Babe Ruth, nor Shohei Ohtani. The answer is Wes Ferrell, who holds the single-season and career home runs hit by a pitcher. He played in an era when pitchers were expected to hit and usually lasted into the ninth inning. Both Ohtani and Ruth have more career home runs, but they hit most of them while playing other positions, such as outfielder or designated hitter. Wesley "Cheek" Ferrell was born on February 2, 1908, in Greensboro, North Carolina. He came from a baseball family, and one of his brothers, Rick, is a member of the MLB Hall of Fame. Wes Ferrell played both basketball and baseball in high school. Soon, he attracted the attention of Major League Baseball scouts. In 1927, two teams offered him a contract: the Indians and the Tigers. He chose the Indians. At just 19, he debuted later in the season and pitched one inning. He played his first full season in 1929 and immediately proved he belonged. His main pitch was an excellent fastball complemented by a curveball and a changeup. Ferrell had a 6.0 WAR and a 21-10 win-loss record. He had a 3.60 ERA and finished 16th in the MVP voting. Ferrell had become the team's second-best pitcher in 1929. The team's ace was Willis Hudlin, who led the league in WAR. In 1930, Hudlin was the season's opening day starter. However, as the season went on, it became clear that Ferrell had become the team's ace and its best starter. He had an 8.3 WAR to go with a 25-13 record, a 3.31 ERA, and 143 strikeouts. He capped the season by batting .297 with 14 RBIs. Ferrell finished 6th in MVP voting. In 1931, Ferrell's numbers dipped slightly but remained elite. A shoulder injury in May robbed him of some of his fastball velocity, and he had to rely on his secondary pitches. He had a 6.2 WAR to go with a 22-12 record. However, he led the league in walks with 130 against only 123 strikeouts. In April of that season, he pitched one of the greatest and unique games in history. He pitched a no-hitter and struck out 8. But what made this more special was that he also had a home run, a double, and 4 RBIs. For the season, Ferrell would bat .319 with 9 home runs and 30 RBIs in 116 at-bats. Ferrell's 9 home runs remain the most home runs hit by a pitcher in a season. Despite his injury not healing fully, Ferrell continued to pitch well. Unfortunately, the injury made him hot-headed, and he reacted angrily to perceived bad calls and when his teammates made errors. He became a difficult teammate. As one sports writer wrote, "He embarrassed you with his arm, his bat, or his tongue." Still, in 1932, he finished with a 6.9 WAR as he had a 23-13 win-loss record and a 3.66 ERA. He also had 105 strikeouts against 104 walks. In 1933, Ferrell started strong. He began with a 5-4 record and a 2.12 ERA. This performance earned him a slot in the inaugural Major League All-Star Game, representing the American League. As the season went on, however, Ferrell had become ineffective. He finished the season with a 2.8 WAR and an 11-12 win-loss record. He also had an ERA above 4.0 for the first time with 4.21. He had 41 strikeouts and issued 70 walks. Despite his pitching woes, Ferrell had some success at the plate as he hit .271 with 7 doubles, 7 home runs, and 26 RBIs in 140 at-bats. Since he wasn't as effective in pitching, manager Roger Peckinpah played him in left field for 13 games and 20 as a pinch hitter. Peckinpah removed him from the outfield as he couldn't play left field. At the end of the season, the Indians gave Ferrell a low offer, which he rejected. In 1934, the Indians traded Ferrell and Dick Porter to the Boston Red Sox for Bob Weiland, Bob Sees, and $25,000 in cash. With the Red Sox, Ferrell became teammates with his brother Rick, the team's starting catcher. Wes began the season as a reliever in 3 games before moving to the starting rotation. He finished the season with a 4.1 WAR and a 14-5 win-loss record. He had a 3.63 ERA. During the season, Ferrell hit 2 homers in a single game 2 times. He finished 8th in MVP voting. In 1935, Ferrell had arguably the best season of his career. He had an 8.2 WAR and led the league in wins with 25 and in complete games with 38. He also had the highest batting average of his career with .347 to go with 7 home runs and 32 RBIs in 150 at-bats. He finished second in the MVP race behind unanimous winner Hank Greenberg of the Detroit Tigers. He had his last great season in 1936 as he had a 6.8 WAR to go with 20 wins. It was the last time he'd ever reached the 20-win plateau. In the middle of the 1937 season, the Ferrell brothers, along with Mel Almada, were traded to the Washington Senators in exchange for Ben Chapman and Bobo Newsom. Ferrell finished the season with a combined 1.2 WAR as he won 14 games and lost 19, to go with a 4.90 ERA. In August of the following season, the Senators released him, and he immediately signed with the Yankees. 1938 was arguably the worst season of his career, even though he won a combined 15 games for Washington and New York. However, he lost 10 games and had a negative 1.8 WAR to go with a 6.28 ERA. He had 43 strikeouts and issued 86 walks. Ferrell was released by the Yankees early the following season. He would still bounce around the league for 3 more seasons before leaving the majors at just 33 years old. Ferrell retired with a 48.8 career WAR as a pitcher and 60.1 overall. He had a 193 to 128 win-loss record to go with a 4.04 ERA. He had 985 strikeouts and issued 1,040 walks. He was an above-average defensive pitcher and had a .975 career fielding percentage, which is the 4th best in AL history, and is more than 20 points above the league average at his position. He also finished 5 times in the top 10 for most assists by a pitcher. He is the only pitcher since 1900 to win 20 games in each of his first 4 seasons. He was also a 2-time 20-game winner for 2 teams. As a hitter, he had an 11.3 WAR as he batted .280 with 57 doubles, 12 triples, and 38 home runs to go with 208 RBIs. He had an OPS of .797. Wes hit more home runs and had nearly twice the WAR of his brother Rick. However, in 1984, Rick was inducted into the Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee. In contrast, Wes's best performance in the Veterans Committee was 50% in 2009. There have been arguments for and against Wes Ferrell's induction into the Hall. His supporters say the following. He had a dominant peak performance. He averaged 21 wins per year on non-pennant winning teams. He had 6 20-win seasons, including 4 consecutive years. He was the best-hitting full-time pitcher in history and still holds the season and career records for home runs. He pitched in a hitter's decade. The 1930s were brutal for pitchers. He was statistically stronger than many contemporaries. He had a higher WAR and lower ERA+ than many pitchers from his era who are in the Hall. Detractors, on the other hand, have the following arguments. He had a short peak and an early decline. At just 29 years old, he was already past his prime as a pitcher. High career ERA. For most voters, an ERA over 4.0 for pitchers during the 20th century was below average. Volatile temperament. He was a fiery competitor who clashed with both teammates, umpires, and the other team. Some players like Ty Cobb could overcome this, but very few could. Lack of a championship legacy. He never played in the World Series. Overshadowed by his brother's reputation. His brother was perceived as a good teammate and, most importantly, as a gentleman. Still, the teams that Wes Ferrell played for recognized his greatness. In 2008, Wes Ferrell was inducted into the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. The following year, he was inducted into the Cleveland Guardians Hall of Fame. Wes Ferrell died on December 9, 1976. He was 68. Thank you for watching. Do you think Wes Ferrell should be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. It helps a lot. Thank you.